International audience. I'm assuming Shannon is from Canada. Not sure, but welcome to our session here of MAA Jordan. We'll be starting very shortly. Just want to make sure that Chef Karim's camera is good and that you can see well. In the meanwhile, Bashar, if you can send a reminder on the main group, on the McGill group, that the session has just started or is starting, I'd appreciate that. That'd be very helpful, just as a last minute reminder for attendees. Okay, that's good. We've got Serene that hasn't joined. So we'll just give it a few minutes and we'll get started. Okay. Chef Karim, can you hear us well?
Yes, I can. Can you hear me as well?
Yeah, the sound is. Can you speak a bit more to assess the sound quality?
1 second.
Yeah, sound quality is a little bit bad.
Can you hear me now?
Yes, much better, much better.
Yeah, perfect.
Good. So I guess we will be starting in a few minutes. Let me just give a small briefing and introduction to everyone. Of course, this is the February calendar event for McGill Alumni Association Jordan. As we've promised you, this year is going to be an eventful year. My name is Dr. Isa Abu Daye. I'm the president of the MAA Jordan and will be your moderator for this session. With us also is Bashar Quraini, Vice President, MAA Jordan. Bashar, can you wave a hand? Here's Bashar. And then we've got Serene Shaheen, who is a core committee member, a dedicated one indeed, who's with us today as well. We are very happy to announce also that we will be having some guests from Canada attending this session, as well as some guests from Germany and other McGill alumni branches. So today's event is a cooking event. We are very happy to have with us today Chef Karim Azar, who's setting things up as I speak. And I'll be talking a bit more about him shortly. Meanwhile, during this session, when we have periods where there's some waiting time, we prepared some interesting Montreal restaurant slides for you. So we'll be displaying those on the screen, and we'd like to hear from you guys if you recognize the restaurant. We'd like to share some of our experiences in those restaurants, if you've ever been, some of your favorite dishes there, etc. So I'd like to have you reminisce on some of those beautiful, delicious restaurants we used to go to when we were in Montreal. If you have any questions to Chef Karim during the session, please feel free to write them in the chat box. And therefore, I will be able to convey those questions to Chef Karim when the time allows us to. Okay. So that's these are the the main guidelines before we get started. We will be recording this session, so for those who were not able to attend, they should be able to basically watch it later on our YouTube channel and other social media channels. Right. So, Chef Karim, are you? I can't see you. I can see the ingredients.
Yes, I'll just have someone fix the camera on me now because I have a tripod so that everyone can watch clearly.
Okay.
Hi, I don't know if you can see me now.
Yeah, much better, much better. So just a few words about Chef Karim. I got to meet him recently in Jordan. In fact, he's a person who's picked up cooking early on in his life, and he studied culinary studies and culinary arts in Collège La Salle in Montreal. So he's not a McGillian, but he has very deep roots in Montreal. And that's one of the reasons why we are very excited to host him today on this session, where he'll be
Thank you.
cooking jambalaya for us. Karim is a very talented chef. He's established 2 restaurants already. So I'll leave the camera with you, Karim, and the microphone with you to give us just a small introduction about yourself.
Excellent. Thank you, Doctor. So my name is Karim. I studied culinary arts and restaurant management in Montreal. I'm really passionate about food. I've been cooking ever since I was a child. And today I'll be cooking a dish that is actually on the menu in a new restaurant I just established, which is called Henny's. And we'll be doing jambalaya chicken. You can also do this recipe with shrimps, or you can do it with the vegetables alone without using any protein or meat, basically. This dish is actually really close to my heart. I used to eat it when I was a kid. My grandmother used to cook it for us all the time. It's a very simple dish. When we came and thought about the idea, about the menu, Dr. Isa and I was thinking that I should be doing something simple, something that would attract maybe people who are still in Montreal or are students and want to do something that's easy and can be stored in the fridge, that you can have maybe heat on campus or something like that. I know the accessibilities of different microwaves and stuff on campus. I used to live actually right next to the McGill campus when I was in Montreal, next to the engineering building actually. And I'm really excited to get this class up and going. So I'm ready to start whenever. If everyone's ready, we can start. Doctor, shall we proceed? Can you hear me? I think I lost you. Hello?
Okay, so let's just make sure that everyone actually has got the ingredients ready so we can go, at least the ones that are online. Can just everyone on the chat drop us a line, say if they're ready, if they have the ingredients ready so we can go. Shannon, Nisreen, Huda. Right, so Nisreen is ready. Yeah, Shannon gives us a thumbs up. That's good. Huda and Nisreen, how are you doing? Bashar is ready. Good. I like that I see kitchens in the background of the cameras. That's good. Okay, so Nisreen is just watching. That's fine. Huda, you're good to go? I guess.
Yes, I'm fine.
Okay, perfect.
Hi,
So,
I'm fine.
Hi.
Okay, perfect. So let's just go ahead then, Karim. Microphone is yours.
Excellent. So I don't know if my friends fixed the camera for me, if it's now on, can everyone see what I have in front of me? So for the time being, I'll be starting with the chicken, first of all. Always at home, segregate a cutting board for chicken specifically. This one I have, I only use for chicken. So we'll get started. Basically, I'm doing this recipe for almost 5 people. So let's say I'll be using around 3 chicken breasts. That's more than enough. Okay, so for this recipe, basically you have the option of doing whatever suits you best for the cut. Either you go for small cubes, big cubes. The way I like to do it is mainly in small pieces so that it gets incorporated in the rice and you can see it easily, let's say. So I like to always double check the chicken if it has any stains, any left bones, anything that could spoil the taste of it, basically. So the way I'm going to cut it is strips. You just go with the knife straight. I like to do everything in order, so I'll do them all at the same time, and then I'll go for the next step of cutting. So go like this. You guys have to excuse me. I'm actually cooking out of my living room, so because my kitchen is too small and it's not bright enough, so I'm working on an induction stove. So for the fillets, you can also use them as well, or you can store them for something else. Maybe you do pulled chicken, or you add them in a stock, or you do whatever you want. I'm going to personally use them in this dish. So as you see, I'm going to be dicing them into small cubes, the chicken. So I'm going to be working on an induction stove, which I guess, used to be always around in Montreal, the electric stoves, not the gas. I'll just tell you the temperatures that you'd be needing to work on, either electric or gas. So in general, just cut the chicken like so. And if you just went over the ingredients I sent, at this stage, I'm just going to add some spices and seasoning to my chicken, as you see here. 1 second. So at this stage, just a dash of salt, some black pepper, paprika, smoked paprika or paprika, whatever you like. Of cayenne is also use fresh if you like. Together. Whole onions, which I will be doing, and I'd also be using dried onion powder as well.
So Chef Karim, just to remind the viewers about the spices being used with the chicken. So we've got the chicken cut in cubes. Then we're adding paprika, onion powder.
Paprika, onion powder, garlic powder,
black
oregano,
pepper,
salt, pepper.
and dried rosemary, right? And dried rosemary.
So current dried rosemary, I'm going to use fresh. But you can always go for fresh or dried, whatever you prefer. Dried is just easier. It's more accessible in supermarkets. Yeah, it doesn't really matter if you use dried or fresh. I personally like to use both, depending on what I have available. So I currently have my induction stove on medium, which is around 5. So if you're working on a gas stove, just go on medium heat. Just wait on it a bit to reach the temperature. So what I'll be doing now is I'll add the chicken. Afterwards, I will change my cutting board and go for the vegetable board, which is right here behind me. As soon as I drop in the chicken in the pot, I'm going to switch my cutting boards. So you just want to wait on it a bit to gain some temperature. I used olive oil for a base. As long as the pot doesn't reach a very high temperature, you can use olive oil. But olive oil is an oil that doesn't stand high temperatures. So just be careful when you start with it. Do not go too hot. Do not let it smoke.
So Chef Karim, just a question to give also the audience the time to catch up with you. Is olive oil a must, or do you think it goes well with other types of oil as well?
No, you can go for any oil. You can go for vegetable oil, canola oil, peanut oil. If you don't want to use anything of that sort, you can go for coconut oil as well. That works. Yeah. So as you see, you can hear you just need to get a little sound on it when you put it in the pan. So I'm going to just get rid of my cutting board. I'll be back in a second. Okay. So switch up the boards.
Guys, is everyone catching up with the pace? If anyone has a problem catching up with the pace, please drop us a note on the chat. So we'll kindly ask Chef Karim to try and give us some extra time.
Please, yes. If you need any extra time, just let me know. I'll slow down.
Yeah, because I got one comment that one of the participants is struggling to catch up, but I want to know if it's other people are having the same issue, or are we okay?
Just let me know. I'll go slower. So what I'm doing now is I'm adding some garlic.
Okay. So now we're working on the garlic cloves, Chef Karim?
Yes, and for the garlic cloves, you can either cut the ends in the beginning and just go with the knife and peel it. It just falls off. What I like to do with the garlic is just put it as so. I don't know if you can see clearly, and I just put the palm of my hand and I push. That way it breaks if you're going to mince it anyways, and the skin just falls off easily. Just as you see. Okay. I'm going to be using 3 cloves.
So Chef Karim, I'm getting some comments that people are still a bit behind. So if you can kindly...
No worries, I'll slow down. Yeah.
Thank you. So I was reading a little bit about jambalaya today. I was curious about the origins, and Some sources say it's West African, others say it's got French and Spanish influence. Well, some people mentioned Louisiana cuisine. So what do we know about it, Chef Karim?
Well, I do know that there's African roots in the dish, but personally, I got introduced to it by my German grandmother.
Oh,
So
wow.
I actually have no idea where she heard of it. Personally, I think that it's a really warming dish, and everyone has his own take on it. The way I do it is not the traditional recipe you'd find on the internet. It's a bit different.
Okay.
But let's say this is my take on it.
I see. I remember we were discussing because I was in a phase where I really wanted to learn how to cook paella. And then I had this discussion with Chef Karim about doing paella. And he had a very good argument. He said, you know, Isa, Amman is not exactly a seafront city. And you don't, you know, when you want to do paella, you really want to do it in a city that's on the sea where you get all the ingredients super fresh to enjoy it. And he proposed jambalaya, and in fact jambalaya does appear to me like a very interesting alternative to paella. It does have its feel, right, but without the seafood components, I would say.
Yeah, definitely. So is everyone catching up? Can I start with the mincing at this point?
Yeah, I guess we've given them some time. If anyone has issues, please just drop us on the chat box. I'll let the Chef Karim know.
Guys, so what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna start with the onion. So if you're doing, I'm gonna cut it, I'm gonna change it because the root is green, so to just give me some struggles when I dice. So.
So I just put your screen on spotlight. Now I think people should see a bigger screen, should see things more clearly.
Paprika, oregano, black pepper, salt.
Okay.
That's all I put so far.
Okay.
So what I'm doing now is I cut just like a bit of the, I just went 1 mil, like a small bit into the onion. And what I do now is I just peel off the first layer. So it all falls off like this. Okay.
Chef Karim, is there a way to avoid, you know, shedding tears when you peel an onion? Is there a trick to that?
Well, it really depends on the onion itself. Sometimes you get onions that are super watery. When they're watery, you start getting all these tears and stuff. Some people say that you can put it in the freezer for a bit. That'll help. I think that's a myth. Some say it works. I personally don't mind it. I just get used to it. And personally in the kitchen, after you cut so many onions, you start knowing how to do it without actually opening your eyes, which kind of helps.
Oh, wow.
So, yeah. So if everyone's keeping up, I'm going to chop the onions so I can add them to my chicken at this point. Okay, so if you have a sharp knife, if you don't, there is no specific cut that you have to do. What I'll be doing is I'll go with the knife this way, and then I do the other one. Okay. If you like it not visible at all, what you can do is you can go then sideways with the knife like this, and then like this. Okay, do the same with the other one. And then at this stage, just go with the knife, and then you get a finely chopped onion. It doesn't really have to be so finely chopped. You can do it as you wish. So I'm just going to go thicker at this point, because at the end, you just add water to the dish and everything cooks together. Eventually, the onions do not show in the dish anyways. So don't be too fussy on the cut. So I remember this, I'm sure everyone in Montreal had their spot where they used to go grocery shopping. So when I was in Montreal, my roommate and I used to always go to PA on St. Catherine, just right in front of my college, actually. And then our usual routine was PA, we give the address for delivery. And then in the meantime, we would go to a restaurant called Sami Soupe. I don't know if anyone has heard of it, but they do dumplings, and they're the most mouth-watering dumplings you can ever have.
Wow.
I really miss these days, actually. Montreal, beautiful place for food, no doubt.
You know, I've got Chef Karim around 15 to 20 pictures of some restaurants we really remember with a lot of fondness. We're going to be playing them at some point to the audience.
Amazing, amazing. So we have the onion finely chopped. I'm going to start with the garlic as well. Same thing. If you have a mincer or a pasture and mortar at home, you can do it with that, or you can just do it with the knife. Whatever is easier for you, whatever you prefer, doesn't really matter.
So Munzer Fahum is now online. Hi, Munzer.
Hello, everyone.
Hi, Munzer. Welcome.
Hope you're in the kitchen, Munzer.
Unfortunately, I'm not. I have corona. I'm just watching today.
Okay, be safe. Be safe. We're recording
Get well
this.
soon.
Thank you. Allah yasalimkum.
All right. So basically, we're chopping the onions and we're chopping the garlics right now. I think back in the days where I was in Italy, they used to call this the sofrito or something like that. Can't remember when they get all these, you know, garlic, onion, whatever, and they fry it and they use it as a base. I'm not sure anymore.
I'm actually not so familiar with Italian cuisine, like when it comes to the terms they use in the kitchen. I love it personally, but
Yeah.
I couldn't know how to answer this question.
Okay.
So if everyone's keeping up, at this point, my chicken has got a bit of color to it now. I'm working on medium heat. So at this stage, I'm going to be adding my onions and garlic.
مش كتير. So the onions, are we talking about around 2 medium-sized onions here, Chef?
I actually used I used one large onion, let's say, and 3 cloves of garlic.
And 3 cloves of garlic. Okay.
Yes. Okay, give that all a toss.
And then we're mixing them all together.
Sure. So I'm just gonna add a bit more olive oil.
A bit more olive oil. Mm-hmm.
Just a dash.
Okay.
So I'm gonna go just grab the bell peppers and the tomatoes.
Okay. Bashar, are you catching up? Okay, we've got Nadine as well. Welcome,
We're
Nadine.
getting there. We're getting there. Thank you, Chef Karim. Well, so far we're okay. The chicken is gaining color. We added the onions and garlic just a little bit early, just to catch up. Hopefully that wouldn't make it.
No, that's fine.
All right.
Some people actually add it before the chicken. That also works. So at this stage, I'm going to start with the peppers. So I'm going to show you a technique I like to use with peppers personally. So what I do is, I don't know if you have a clear view on my cutting board. So what I do is I just go through this part and then another from the other side, leave these bits on the side, and then just do a small line in the pepper like this, open it up, and then with your knife, as you can see, just go this way. So you just remove the interior of the pepper. Okay, just go like this. And then you have the pepper flat. You just remove the excess seeds. Okay. So I'm just going to line it up on one side of the cutting board, get rid of the interior of the bell pepper.
Chef Karim, we have a question from Serene. She
Yes.
says that she always thought adding olive oil when the chicken is cooked gives it a different taste. I don't know if she means by it a good or a bad. It's good.
I
بطعم.
always thought لما بنزيد زيت الزيتون once it's cooked, so this is a lesson learned, this is good, إنه بطعم شوي، عشان هيك أنا دائما بحطه بالأول وخلص، حتى لو حسسته منشف I don't add any. So it's
well, it really depends on the olive oil you're using, but I do see your point. I actually, what I like to do is there's the specific olive oil that we have available, which is like, I think, cold pressed olive oil. I usually use that sort of olive oil for garnish in the end because I like that sharp taste it has. You can also, if you use it in the beginning, then you, as you said, you'd بطعم, I don't know, like you'd get the taste of it less in the cooking itself. I personally use a lot of olive oil in my cooking because I don't really like to use vegetable oil or soy oil or, let's say, any of these sorts of oils. I'm more towards using olive oil or peanut oil. Peanut oil I use when I want to use high temperatures when I cook because peanut oil stands a lot of temperature. As you can see, I use an induction, so you can see this coming like in the pot from the bottom. This is fine. It actually holds a lot of flavor, so don't worry if you see it in your pots, because as soon as you deglaze, this will all go through the, let's say, the liquid mixture as well. So I'm gonna go low on the fire just until I cut the rest of my veg. So we have, I chose red, orange, green, and yellow. You can also use any of them if you want. If you only have green, you can only use green. If you have the colors, you can use the different colors. It really depends on what you like the most. You can choose accordingly. So last one. So for the cut, I'm gonna keep it simple. You can just go in strips like this. Okay, I like to do everything at a time. So I go with all the peppers, I do them in strips, and then I just chop one time. It's just easier for your hand to hold the same cut, basically.
So Chef Karim is using the different kind of peppers mostly for color reasons, or is also related to the taste?
Well, some peppers are less sharp than others. So green peppers are usually strong in taste in comparison with yellow, for instance, which is a bit softer. Some people tend not to like the taste of peppers. To me, they differ in taste if they're cooked or raw. Personally, I do not like peppers in salads, for instance. I feel they're too dominant. But usually green peppers are the strongest in taste. I personally like cooked peppers more than raw. If I was to use raw peppers, then I'd do them like, I like to also roast the peppers. If I was to roast, I'd go for red peppers, for instance, not green. Green, I'd always tend to use when I cook something like jambalaya, or if I was to put them in like a soup, for instance. But in going back to your question, do they differ in taste? They do, but it's not that big of a difference. For color in jambalaya, when the dish finishes, it's nice to have different peppers just for color reasons. Is everyone keeping up, or am I going too fast? Please tell me if I am.
I'm using what's happening in our kitchen as a gauge. We're okay. We're just starting to cut the peppers, so probably a minute or two behind. I don't know about the rest.
Okay.
You guys, drop us any comments if you're running late, or if you have any questions for Chef Karim. Okay, starting to smell good here. So who's actually cooking apart from ourselves here, my wife and myself and Bashar? I'm curious, who else is actually cooking as we speak? Anyone else? No?
Dr. Isa, how many attendees do we have? I actually can't see my phone because it's on a tripod.
12 people so far.
Excellent.
We've got, I think, a lady from Canada, if I'm not mistaken, Shannon.
I have a small question. Is it normal to release a lot of fluid, the initial mix of the chicken and the onions and garlic?
Yes, of course. What temperature are you working on? Is it gas first or is
medium
it
heat.
electric? Okay, if you turn up the heat, then you lose the fluids. It's fine for the chicken to release fluids. It's usually from the chicken and the onions. That's fine. If you turn up the fire, the fluids will start to evaporate, but that's completely normal. Yeah, that's completely fine.
Thank you.
Naila has just joined us. Hi, Naila. Regards to you. We can't hear you. You're on mute.
Hi, doctor. How are you?
Hi. Are you in the kitchen, Naila, or just watching?
No, I'm in my living room.
Okay.
Not up to cooking now. I'm
worries.
learning.
We're recording the session, so you can always go
Yeah.
back to it and let
All
us
right.
and Karim know.
Good. Thank you. Thank you.
So I'm gonna proceed with my tomatoes.
Okay, so we're moving on to the tomatoes. So just to summarize what we've done so far, we've cooked the chicken in olive oil. We've put all the spice mix in there. And then after that, we went in with the diced onions and garlics. Then we went on with the different types of peppers, all the different colors, chopped it, put it in. And now we're starting to chop the tomatoes. That's good. Is there a certain level of ripeness for the tomatoes that you would prefer for the jambalaya?
The riper the tomatoes for the jambalaya, the better, because they release more juice.
Okay, so the riper. That's good.
The riper the better.
Riper the better.
So what I'm doing here, you're noticing, I'm just removing the tip. So what you do, a technique I like to use is just cut in half. When you reach this point where there's this part of the tomato, you just do a small triangle over here and it just falls off alone. Okay, another one.
You know, I really like the fact that you're using a small stove, because that really encourages all the students out there and at university to afford to cook such a dish.
Well, personally, I live alone. So I'm doing a dish that would, let's say, feed me today. Maybe tomorrow I'll take a lunchbox with me to work. So you can just, if you want to do this dish, for the quantities, you can always multiply or reduce depending on basically how much you want to feed.
Yeah, absolutely. So, Chef Karim, what if someone gets all these components chopped ahead of time? Does that give an advantage, or you'd rather do them sequentially?
No, of course, if you have them ready, then you just save a ton of time.
Yeah, just keep adding one thing after the other, right?
Yes, basically at this stage, you add the peppers because peppers take longer to cook than
Yeah,
everything else. And you don't want the final result having crunchy peppers. You want just everything to be fully melted, fully soft. Just
yeah.
gives a nicer feeling to the dish. Basically, it's a rice dish with chicken. The nice thing about it is it's a base. You can always have your favorite salad on the side. Personally, with this dish, with the ingredients I sent, I'll be doing a yogurt salad, which is very similar to, let's say, a tzatziki. So I think it goes really well with it because this dish has plenty of spices and intense flavors to it. And the yogurt just comes in as a palate cleanser and like a cooler, let's say.
Okay. So Muna is in. Welcome, Muna. Are you in Qatar, Muna?
Nope, I'm actually in Amman, Jordan.
Okay, great.
I'm a little bit late. Sorry, I was a little bit busy for that a while, but I'm
No
here to
worries.
attend the rest of it.
Are you planning to cook or now, today, or some other time?
Akid not now, but I might even have a taste from Bashar's cooking.
That's good. That's good.
Yeah,
To have you with us.
thank you very much.
So does everyone have the
That's-
tomatoes chopped up?
Yeah, we're in the process here. Tomato. We're in the process. We got cherry tomatoes here. Are they okay to use?
Yeah, that works too, of course.
Okay, fine.
Any
So,
sort, like your favorite sort of tomato. If you'd like to use like romaine tomatoes, like local tomatoes, heirloom tomatoes. Basically, what the difference is, the profile of the tomato itself and the acidity and how much water they have in them. But like personally, I'm not really strict on what you can use. I believe that everyone has his own take on everything. I personally like to use these tomatoes because they're always available. And in Jordan, we're lucky enough to have them year round.
so Chef Karim, another question that I'm receiving from a participant is if they want to make it with shrimps or how would that affect the process?
Basically, you just replace the chicken with the shrimps. And when I cook shrimps, I don't like to overcook them. So for the first step we did with the chicken, after you get a good coloration on the shrimps and you see them becoming golden and shrinking up together, put them aside, put them in a bowl, get started with your veg, and then re-add the shrimps before adding the rice, which we still haven't reached. Because you don't want to overcook shrimps. What happens if you overcook them? They become chewy, which is not really something pleasing.
Right. So we just cook them initially, take them out, finish up with the veggies, and then add them back when we add in the rice.
Exactly.
Okay. Okay. And I'm assuming you can have a beef version of it as well, or?
Personally, I've never tried. Could work for sure. But like, I don't know if you'd be using minced meat or if you want to use another cut, then it would need prior cooking so that the meat doesn't get chewy when you do it.
Yeah.
But I've never tried with meat personally.
Okay.
Probably like, it would be nice if you just do this recipe with the veg itself. If you want to do it with meat, do the meat on the side and have the recipe exactly the same, but with the meat served on the side. That works too.
I see.
Question on the tomato paste? Not yet.
بس أنا أسئلتك دايركت. Okay, sounds good. Okay, fine. We're caught up. Bashar, is your kitchen caught up?
So is everyone catching up?
Perfect. Perfect.
Maybe there's something you can do to have a lead time. If you have a water kettle, just get some water boiling so that when we add the rice, we have hot water ready to go.
Okay, that's good advice. So get some water boiling. People, whoever is in the kitchen, let's get some water boiling.
So in the recipe, I have dried rosemary. So I'm just gonna use some fresh rosemary over here. I'm gonna chop it up, and I added just a bit of oregano, fresh oregano as well. Chop it up, mix it with my tomatoes before I add them in. Not a lot.
Chef Karim, we have a question from Bashar asking if he has
Go ahead.
to wait for water to dry up before adding the peppers.
Actually, at this stage, if the chicken is still releasing fluids and the onion, turn up the fire. Or what you can also do, maybe if was the chicken cold when he worked with it, maybe that's something. Was it directly out of the fridge?
Okay, because that could contribute. Yeah, apparently it was directly out of the fridge. Does that make it release more liquids?
Basically, what happens is if the chicken is right out of the fridge and it's super cold from inside, and then you add it into the pot, what happens is the temperature reduces, so it will release juices faster, and the pot would not have the. You basically have to just turn up the fire at this stage. If the juices are too much in your way, what you can do is just add the fluids in a side bowl, and then basically you can add them in when basically at the end stage, when you add the tomatoes and you want everything to cook together, you can re-add the fluids. Just basically you want to get the vegetables sauteed at this stage. If we have any vegetarian attendees, just do not add chicken to this recipe and do it with the vegetables. If you have vegetable stock at home, or if you do your own stock, that would be even nicer. If you're using chicken, you don't really need to add any stocks because the chicken releases enough flavor in this dish. Chicken breast is also good enough. You don't need to add any other cuts. If you're a fan of chicken thighs, you can also add chicken thighs rather than using chicken breasts. Chicken thighs are more juicy, more flavorful. I personally like using chicken thighs, but it's not always available to buy them deboned. So what I just added is the garlic powder. Just added a bit. So if everyone's keeping up, my peppers have come a bit soft now. So what I'll do now is I'll add my tomatoes and turn up the fire. Okay, tomatoes in. I'm just gonna give my board a fast wipe, put my knife aside. It's kind of difficult cooking in a living room, but it is what it is. And I actually just moved in, so I'm supposed to be doing an open kitchen in my living room, which would make my life easier down the line, but so far I am managing. So added the tomatoes, turn up the fire. At this stage, I'm gonna add some butter. As soon as I add the butter, I'm gonna add the tomato paste. Did everyone add the tomatoes at this stage? I like to be generous with my butter. I love butter personally. So I'm putting a fairly decent knob in. You can always put as much as you want. So give that all a toss. Can you hear me? Doctor, can you confirm if I'm still live?
Yes, chef, we can hear you.
Excellent, thank you. So butter in.
So how much butter did we put in, Chef Karim? I've got questions.
I put in a large knob. I love butter in my food. In the recipe, it states how much I put, but for the amount we're doing now and everything, you can add around 80 grams, which is more than enough. If you have a scale, or if you want to cut it out on the regular knob you buy from a supermarket, you just put a quarter of it. I put a bit more than a quarter because I'm a big fan of butter. You can always put as much as you want. If you're on a specific diet and you don't like to use too much fat, you can always not use butter as well, whatever suits you best. So, tomato paste, I'll just cut off the tip. So I add in my fridge later on. I just wrap it with Ceylon wrap and put it in the fridge for other uses. In around 1 tablespoon. Okay, when you add the tomato paste, at this stage, make sure your water is boiling because very soon you'd be adding the water to the pot. You see now everything is mixing together. You see the tomatoes melting, you see the chicken mincing, the peppers are still visible. This is exactly what you want to be seeing at this stage in the dish. So fire up, boil the water.
Okay, so it doesn't, it kind of melts in, the ingredients melt in together, right?
Exactly. Which is exactly what you want.
Yeah.
Do not worry if that is happening to you, because as I said, when you cook the rice, you don't want everything to be very visible. So I have...
Yeah. We're getting a pot that looks quite similar. We're quite excited about this.
Nice. So is everyone keeping up? Do you have your water ready? Do you have your rice measured out? And I'm using basmati rice, which is also in the recipe. As you can see, I have it already portioned out in a bowl because I have this really big bag, and I thought if I had it with me on the live session, I'd make a mess. So I just emptied it out in a bowl. So,
so this amount is enough for 1 kilogram of rice, chef, right?
Yes, exactly.
Okay, so if it's 1 kilogram, you need the whole thing. Okay, it's 1 kilo. Okay, good. Good.
So 1 kilogram of rice, if you have a scale, doctor, what you'd want to do is you'd also want to measure your water with a scale.
Yeah.
Okay, so I personally used mugs, which you can also do. This is a more traditional method that, let's say, we are used to in at least our region in the world. Castain, Bicassin, this is how you measure it out. For basmati rice, how I like to do it is 1 mug to 1.5 water. So I have 2 mugs measured in this bowl. I'm gonna just toss them in. You give the rice a mix with everything. Okay. At this stage, lower the fire. Do not go too high. Okay, induction. Mix everything well.
So Chef Karim, are we doing half portion from what we have in the recipe or the full portion?
No, I'm actually doing half the portion.
So you added half a
always-
kilogram.
Yes, but you can always do the full portion if you have bigger
So
crowd to feed.
So whoever followed you so far should put half a kilogram of rice instead of one, right?
Exactly.
Okay, good call. Bashar, let's hope your wife didn't pour in the whole kilogram.
So I have my water boiling over here. If everyone's with me on the stage, I'm gonna add the water to the dish. 1, 2, 3.
Okay.
Okay.
So, okay, so technically we use 2 big cups of rice with 3 large cups of boiled water, correct?
Yes, so it's basically 1 to 1.5.
1.5. Good.
And then always just add a little bit extra because at this stage you want everything to boil, and with the vapor you would just lose a bit of the measurement. So I'm just gonna go ahead and add just an extra quarter in.
So for the rice, Chef Karim, other than basmati, I mean, for paella, I thought they used the thin fat rice.
Yes, they use short grain rice.
Short grain. So why are we, for example, going for the basmati? Is there a specific reason?
I personally like it because it's less sticky rice, long grain. It's more visible when it comes out of the dish. And it's less starchy as well, so it's lighter, I feel.
Okay.
So at this point, you just want it to boil a bit. I'm gonna just turn up the fire a bit.
Okay. So we have a question for you by Bashar. What are the restaurants that you started up? Can you tell us briefly about them?
Yeah, sure. In Amman, I started Bao Basha, which is a Taiwanese fusion. And currently, I just opened another restaurant, which is called Henny's. We serve fried chicken. It's a fried chicken sandwich shop.
So where are they?
And
Can you tell us the locations? Whoever's
Bao
interested.
Basha is in Sophia Village. It's a really cool place if you're into Asian fusion. We specialize in bao buns, which originate from Taiwan. The menu is funky. There's noodle dishes. There's gyozas from Japan. There's funky salads, different. Basically, the stuffings for the bao are all fusion. So something is inspired from Japan, another thing inspired from China, something inspired from Canada when I was there. So yeah, that's Bao. And then there's Henny's. Henny's is a sandwich shop mostly. We sell fried chicken sandwiches, grilled wraps. We have also plate options, so like grilled chicken if you are tending for a healthy option, salads as well. But Henny's is more of a fast casual. So let's go back to the dish because at this stage I'm going to let it simmer. So as you see, the pot reached a boil now. You just want everything to boil for around 1 minute. After that, I'm gonna cover it and let it simmer for around 25 minutes. This is when, doctor, you can take the stage and talk about the restaurants.
Absolutely, that's good. We're waiting for the signal.
And I'm also gonna be getting my cucumbers. Just give me a moment. Cucumbers, mint is next to me. Clove of garlic and my yogurt. So I'm gonna start off with the cucumbers first.
So Chef Karim, we have another question. Where's your chicken sandwich place location, please?
It's in Udayna, actually. It's next to the Four Seasons Hotel.
Any specific days where you actually cook in the kitchen, where we can find you serving or cooking?
Well, currently I'm almost there every day. Today was an exception because I scheduled with you a month prior because we just launched around less than 2 months ago. Yeah. So at this point, I'm more involved because I'm involved in training the staff, guiding them in how things should be done. So more or less, I'm there all the time now for a couple months. So if you drop by in the next couple of weeks, you definitely see me around.
Great. And
So if you see the pot now is bubbling, I'm going to lower the heat to simmer. And we're just going to let that simmer for 25 minutes.
Naila was asking if the rice was soaked. Was the rice soaked when we started?
No, no. I just washed it. With basmati rice, I don't soak the rice.
Okay. Okay.
If you're doing short grain rice, you definitely want to soak the rice. So if basically for the yogurt salad, you can choose to peel or not peel the cucumbers, depending. I personally base that on where I get my cucumbers from. If I'm getting organic cucumbers, I don't really make a fuss about peeling them. But if they're sometimes not organic, I don't know, subconsciously, I just like to peel them. So I'm going to go ahead and start peeling the cucumbers.
Chef, is this the time where we can display a couple of restaurants, or is it coming later?
Yeah, for sure. This is like basically for the salad, you just need to peel the cucumbers, and then if you just chop them the way you want, you can go ahead and start with the restaurants. I'm just gonna put everything on pause for now. Just peel the cucumbers, and then let's get to the slideshow.
So how long do we have? Around 15 minutes for the moment?
Yes, for sure.
So what I'm gonna do is I'm just gonna try to take you through some memories, Montreal restaurant memories, and you know, please take your microphones off. We're gonna hear from you guys. If you know the restaurant, if you remember where it is, if you've ever eaten there, and what you thought of the place. Okay, so it's time for Montreal people to shine. Do you guys see my screen? Yes or no? Can you guys see my screen?
Yes.
Okay, cool. So we're starting with some pictures. So I highly encourage you to take off your microphones and just go in if you'd like to comment. So we're starting. I actually had a very hard time making picks. I asked some of my colleagues for suggestions. I put some of my own also memories, and let's hear about it. Okay, Tim Hortons. That's not high, you know, that's not fine cuisine, but I'm sure everyone who lived in Montreal has entered this place at least once.
Best iced cappuccino.
As cappuccino, yeah, that was lovely.
Who could find the best French vanilla coffee in Amman that is most similar to Tim Hortons? Has anybody found it yet?
No, not me. Me, that was really
vanilla
good.
Cappuccino is there's none other than that of Tim Hortons. Amazing. With the morning bagel, couldn't have any better breakfast.
Oh yeah, they had this bagel with cream cheese, so you choose like the one with the grains, and they put the cream cheese inside. And then I'd finish off with some Timbits. I don't know if you've tried the Timbits back then. They were like starting. Who remembers where those branches are? The big picture on the right. Do you remember which branch is this? Or the one on the left?
It's in a square. It's just below St. Catherine. Not exactly sure where. I don't remember what it's called.
Yeah, the one on the left actually was near where I lived in Guy Concordia. It's really nice. It's really like Guy Concordia. The one on the right, you guys should know. It's a famous branch.
Sherbrooke?
Yeah, Sherbrooke, right next to McGill, Sherbrooke University. Sherbrooke University, right? Well done, Serene. Well done. Okay, moving on. How about that?
I don't know.
Faubourg, at the Faubourg Mall? Was it there?
Sorry?
It was in a mall, like the bagel place in a mall?
Yeah, no, that was the Saint Viateur bagel. I think it's one of the most famous bagel place. Was somewhere near the Blue Line. Can't remember the name of the area now, but it is one of the most famous ones. It's a very small one. It's a store. You go in, you barely have space to get in, but then they're producing them so hot and fresh. You just buy it and leaves. And by the way, for the lovers of Montreal bagels, on McGill 24, so the event on March 10th, one of the free sessions that we'll be playing is actually a Montreal chef who will be displaying how to make Montreal bagels online. So for those of you who are interested to make them at home, that would be your chance. March 10th, McGill 24 event. Okay, next. Comments. Anyone? No one? Schwartz?
Corned ham, is this on Peel? Peel and St. Catherine or Maisonneuve?
No, Schwartz was on Saint Laurent. Was up Saint Laurent, very famous smoked meat. They used to have the smoked meat dish, and it comes with like sometimes with a liver, like a veal liver.
Amazing.
Yeah.
Amazing, Schwartz. Saint Laurent up.
But there, Chef Karim knows it well. Absolutely.
And there was always a line to it. You'd always have to wait.
But there was this place right in front of Schwartz that did the exact
same. It sells the same thing, yeah, for sure.
And no line.
But not as good, or maybe we just thought it wasn't as good.
Yeah.
Subconsciously.
I actually ended up going there a couple of times. It was pretty good. La Belle Province. Who ended up going there late at night to grab a poutine?
I hate poutine. Sorry to say that.
I think
I love
Nisreen,
poutine.
Nisreen Haram will agree with you. She hates poutine too, don't you, Nisreen?
Nisreen Haram's on the nice. Hi, Nisreen.
She's with us today. And we had this poutine discussion once because I was really trying to convince her to produce for us some cheese curds local to make poutine.
Nisreen, is it soft cheese season yet?
I don't know if she's...
I don't think she's with us.
Yeah, maybe. Well, she's
She's
online.
on chat. She's on chat with us.
Is she?
هاي
Yes.
كيفك شيف يعطيك العافية. أول شيء
استئنانك نسرين, I miss you.
Yeah, it
Miss
is
you.
soft cheese, but we are not doing. I'm still stalling on producing cheese under the circumstances. الوضع بخوف والله بتعرفوا كيف and too many parties
very
involved.
scary, for sure.
So I don't want to take any chances on anyone, not on my staff, not on my clients. So we're going to wait it out a little bit before committing the الراعي حرام وبعدين يضطر يروح على another source. Wish us luck. خلصنا الدكتور عيسى خلصنا من الكورونا.
We're working on it. والله we're working on it.
معقول كل ما يعني كل مالها بترجع مثل الحية بسبع روس ميدوسا. فيعني الله يعطيك العافية. I'm enjoying watching this in bed كريم. خلاص next time ولا بطبخ ولا إشي باجي باكلها عندك.
أهلا وسهلا. صرت جارك أنا anyways.
الله
شاركيني
يسعدك.
anytime.
أهلا تسلم.
For those that don't know Nisreen, Nisreen is a member of MAA Jordan, and she, among many other initiatives, she's got this beautiful local cheese production place called Mistaka. I have not had the pleasure of trying it
I
yet.
know.
We've
Well,
tried.
I personally have, and I can just say that Nisreen makes the best cheese in the world.
Wow.
And for usually when I'm doing a private catering or a pop-up dinner or something, I just call her and I tell her, listen, save me and let the highlight of my dinner be you. And she's usually the highlight of my dinners.
هذا من لطفك هذا من لطفك. الله يمرر هالموسم على خير ونرجع ننتج يا رب.
إن شاء الله إن شاء الله.
هلا. Well done. I'm watching. Tomorrow I'm cooking it. بس كريم بما إني أسألك على السريع ما بيطلع شوي dry chicken بعد كل هالفترة؟
When you add the liquid, when you let everything cook together, it won't. That's why I use breast. If you use breast and it's deboned, you're fine.
Okay, thank you very much. That looks really yummy. بدي أعملها مع shrimp. Thank you so much.
You're welcome.
So we're on low fire, Karim, صح? Chef Karim, we're on low fire, right?
I'm simmering. Yeah, lowest possible.
So another restaurant. Who remembers this, people?
Not great.
Tres Amigos. So what did you like about it, Chef Karim?
Maybe I went once to it, and it was
Uh-huh.
like a one-time thing. I don't know.
Really?
Or like, if I wanted to do Mexican, there was this place in Chinatown, amazing. What was it called? What was the name? Capital, I think, or something like that.
In
I used to do
Chinatown.
tacos in Chinatown. It was the best taco place in Montreal. Amazing. I can't
That's
remember the name. Central, maybe. I can't remember.
This place was on St. Catherine. It was not far from where I was living in Guy Concordia. I liked their cocktails. They had some nice cocktails going, I think.
Yeah, for cocktails for sure, but the food
Yeah.
wasn't amazing. The cocktails were funky, definitely.
Anyone else has any memories in Tres Amigos? No? No one? Okay.
The food was good for me وظلمتهم. I thought I had food poisoning من هناك بس طلع زايدة. But it wasn't real.
By the way, I got, I think that was Munzer. I got food poisoning from Three Amigos.
Really?
I thought I did but I didn't. فالحمد لله على سلامتك.
It's Soha Saleh.
Hi, Soha.
Hello.
Hi.
So Tres Amigos is responsible for at least 2 food poisonings of our members.
Definitely mine. I can't even look at the picture.
Moving on. Okay, next. Who remembers this place? You know, this was sent to me by Bashar. I'm a downtown guy. I never got that far on Maisonneuve to arrive to Tehran. Really?
I think you missed half your life if you didn't go. This is Tehran, the Irani place.
Yes.
That's, I think, one of the best restaurants I've ever visited.
One of my best memories in Montreal.
Yeah.
Really? Was it that good?
It was
Amazing.
It's amazing.
Amazing food.
How did you guys go? Did you use a metro or car? Because that wasn't downtown.
I used to live downtown. I used to live at Quartier, right next to McGill.
Yeah.
I would take the bus and the metro. Yani it wasn't easy to get there, but it was worth the trip.
The closest metro station, I don't recall what they're close, but there's one walking distance from metro station.
Well, you've gone a long way to reach that place.
It's on the western side of downtown.
Yeah. Now I regret not going. Okay. Next.
Vendôme metro station.
Yes, that's right.
Who was frequenting McDonald's during his times in Montreal? The one,
Definitely.
you know, Dajani, Jamal Dajani insisted I include that, and he said I lived on McDonald's during my time in Montreal. I said he's not with us today, mate. I said okay.
I've never been to McDonald's in Montreal, ever.
Really?
I vowed not to.
I don't think I've ever been. Next. Okay, these are pictures, personal pictures. And this is a place in Chinatown. I can't remember the name. It's all written in Chinese, but it did hot pot. Do you remember this place, guys?
Oh, wow. Yes, amazing.
I love that place. You know, you'd get the tribes,
amazing
vegetables to cook. And here's me.
You have to take a set of stairs, right, to go to the place?
So yes, you had to take a set of stairs up. That's absolutely right.
Yes, amazing place.
Chef, do we keep the fire on? It's asking my wife here whether she should turn the fire off or should just
No, you should still be simmering at this point. I have a timer going. I'll let you know when it's time.
Good. Okay, so here's another one. Who remembers Pizzeria Angela on Maisonneuve? No. Serene, any good or bad experiences?
No, I don't remember. There was a good pizza place on Crescent Street, but I couldn't remember the name.
Okay. Next. Remember that place?
طبعا.
Le Milsa Brazilian restaurant. And here's me, guys, in Le Milsa to the right-hand side. Appreciating the pineapple. Do you remember those grilled pineapples, the roasted pineapples that came towards the end with the cinnamon?
I love meat. It was a great place for me.
Me too. I loved it. And, you know, when my parents used to visit, we always used to go there and just, you know, there was this all you can eat. Remember that green circle, which you keep green while you eat, and then when you're full, you don't want more meat, you turn it to the red side?
100%.
Okay, so Munzer, it seems it's just me and you are meat lovers in this meeting.
And there were
Honestly,
performances and dances. It was fun.
Oh,
all
yeah.
you can eat had to be sushi. All you can eat. When we used to go there, like they used to hate us. They used to say like, "Oh wow, the Jordanians have arrived. We should shut down now." It was a disaster for them.
Next, does anyone remember that place? Or is it just me?
This was on St. Catherine, no?
Yeah, St. Catherine, close to
Yeah,
Atwater.
yeah. For
Super
sure.
Louis.
Yeah.
Yeah, this was a Chinese place. I used to buy a lot of takeaways from here. They did really nice noodles and other dishes. It's probably like $7 at the time a dish. I don't know. I think it's like 15 now or something. Prices have doubled since 2006, 7, whatever. Okay. This one here. Does anyone? I've never been to this place, so you guys need to talk about it, or I'm skipping it because I don't even know where it is.
No. This is Jardin Nelson in the Old Port.
It's amazing.
It's in the square that has a lot of entertainment, especially during the summer months. Amazing, beautiful place, beautiful scenery. You're overlooking the river. One of the nicest, classy places, actually.
I bet the bill turned out quite high at the end of the day.
Not as much as you'd think. I'm trying to remember the square name. I think Saint Paul, Saint.
Yeah, there was like a statue, right, like in the middle of it or something. It's near the Vieux-Port, the Old Port.
Vieux-Port.
Next, who remembers this place? Chef Karim, you must know it if you were frequenting Chinatown. Cam Fung.
No, I've never been actually.
This is a place, it's called Cam Fung, right at the entrance of Chinatown when you exit Place d'Armes, and you take up some escalators. And what they do is that, look at the picture at the bottom, they have those trolleys and they go around with these different dim sum dishes. And you basically pick up the dish you like and ask the lady to like serve it on the table. And in the
honestly had my favorite dim sum place, which I was extremely loyal to. Never changed it all through the 4 years.
Actually, my boss, so here's my boss here at McGill, Dr. Martin Olivier. He used to take us as a lab there all the time for celebrations. So this is, when I first arrived, this was my lab, and we were there in Camp Fung. Okay, next. Guys, don't you wish there's a Premier Moisson branch in Amman?
Where was this located? I'm not familiar with it. Surprising.
Never mind.
There's so many branches. One of them was on St. Catherine, not far from where I lived. But there were so many branches. They did excellent. It was an excellent bakery. You'd buy all sorts of bread. And they also had sweets. They had pâtés. It was a lovely experience. So I don't know, for some reason it was more frequented by Francophones than Anglophones. I'm not sure why.
رقص عظيم محله بيساعد بيغني.
رقص ولا
The
رقص؟
best brioche in the world.
طب نايس. هي أظن أنت بتحكي عن رقص بصوفية؟
I agree, it's the best.
Guys, Basha. I'm طيب.
Interjection.
No, come on.
On to Basha. We just added the rice with the water. We're a little bit behind. Do we have it on? Just let it simmer as soon as we add the water?
No, sir. Just let it boil a bit.
Boil. Okay.
Yes, let it boil for like 2 minutes.
Okay.
Once you see it boiling, make sure that the fire is not too high that it sticks from the bottom in your pot.
Okay.
And then when it boils for 2 minutes and you're sure that the whole pot gained temperature, you put the fire on simmer. Then you cover and you, by all means, not open the pot.
Perfect.
Do
Great.
you have your measurements for the rice? How much rice did you add in?
We added 3 cups of rice, and we added the amount of water
5.
In coordination with that.
Excellent. At this, before adding, just make sure now, just take a spoon, taste the water, make sure there's enough salt.
Okay. Great.
And then cover and let it simmer for 25 minutes.
Thank you.
So Chef Karim, did you have any comments about Basha and Tayyib and Arabic cuisine in Montreal?
I actually used to hate these places. My friends used to always order from, what's it called again? It was on Crescent, Bustan. I have one of my friends who used to live with me in Montreal. He's actually in my house in the other room, and I think he's hearing me. And he's like, Bustan. I was like, I really used to hate this place from all my heart. Like, they used to have the nastiest sandwich ever, and I don't know how my friends used to have it. I don't know. It's really, I used to work, actually, I don't know if you know this about me. I used to work in a restaurant in Montreal, Garage Beirut, when I was still a student. I don't know if any of you have been to it. Relatively newish. It's been around for maybe 10 years.
Let's see. Well, you know, Tayyib was right in front of where I lived on Lincoln Avenue near Guy Concordia. We went there for some manaish. But Basha, it was when we wanted big shawarma plates. It was on St. Catherine, McGill. You'd go up the escalator where, remember where the sports experts used to be right there?
Yes, yes.
It was right next to sports experts on the 2nd floor. Okay, when we think about Montreal, we think about big, nice breakfasts. What was your best breakfast place? If you ever been there?
L'avenue for me.
Expectation, what was it for you?
Mine was L'Avenue on St. Catherine.
Anyone else has any breakfast memories?
Shakora's on Park.
Okay, Avenue de Parc.
Wow.
Nice. Maybe just me going to expectations then, but yeah, they're lovely.
No, I love expectations.
Okay. I dare you that anyone has reached that far. The orange julep. Who's reached the orange julep?
I've made the trip once.
Really? Wow.
Yeah.
You are a true Montrealer, I have to say. This was an orange, big orange that was selling this, you know, very special orange julep drink. And it was far. I can't remember which metro station was it, Munzer, to arrive there.
My friends were from Montreal and they had cars, but we would drive there.
Oh, fancy. Where the students? Okay. But here it says Descaries and Paris in the picture. La Mer à Boire, next to this Indian restaurant, Saint Denis. Anyone had any special place on Saint Denis?
The only place on Saint Denis was Juliet Chocolat. That's the only one that comes to mind.
It was amazing. The fondue there was fantastic. The chocolate fondue was amazing. It's true. L'entrecôte for the fancy rich people.
And on special occasions only.
Yeah, I was chatting to a friend and he said, oh, I only went there once to impress a girl. And that was the last time I've been there.
It's where you take your parents when they come to visit.
Exactly, Munzer, yeah.
When you want to have good food for a change.
Where was it?
It was on Peel.
Peel. Okay. Clearly, I've never been to L'entrecôte.
Peel, like between St. Catherine and Maisonneuve, no?
Anyone ever been to Mad Hatter? No?
Oh, me.
Yeah, that was a pub restaurant on Maisonneuve and Peel, I think. Well, it was at the time, late 90s, and I think it just shuttered its doors early 2000s. It was one of the places you hang out with your project gang and work on late nighters to finish up a project.
But that was on Crescent, though. It was on Crescent Street, if I remember. Not sure it was.
Maisonneuve and Peel.
Yeah. Okay. Maybe. Well, that's Thompson House. Have you ever been to Thompson House, the graduate pub, graduate study pub? No, never. So it was very close.
Thursday nights at Thompson's.
Yeah, yeah, and that's me here in red wearing the Boston shirt. Okay. Les trois brasseurs.
Trois brasseurs.
Anyone is still there? I mean, is it still there? I was asking a newly.
It's still there. It's still there.
Really? Because there's this lady.
Yeah.
I talked to, like, she's newly graduated, recently graduated from McGill, and I mentioned it, and she's like, no, doesn't ring a bell. So I was a bit concerned. It's gone. Okay, they had this 1 meter beer, which if you ordered, they'd ring a bell, like all over the place, they'd be ringing a bell. And they had those flams, the big flams, like, it's really good. Okay, Nichols. Well, we're not talking about the strip club, we're at Nichols, St. Catherine. Has anyone been there before? No? That's a famous place near McGill on St. Catherine. It served all sort of like...
Wasn't Celine Dion a part owner in it?
Oh, yes.
Was she?
I think so. I think
in Schwartz.
Oh.
She was a part owner in Schwartz, that I know.
Oh, wow.
Very possible. Good to do some background check on that.
Where are we on the simmering?
Yeah, I was just going to say 1 minute, and then I'm going to open the pot.
Perfect.
So at this stage, if everyone is everyone back with me?
Yeah, we're all back.
Okay, so what I want to do now is I want to just chop the cucumbers for the salad. I have 1 minced garlic clove as well. So you can choose the thickness you want for the cucumbers. I just like to go in halves like this, and then flatten them out like this. 1, 2, 3. As I said, you can choose the thickness that suits you. This works just fine for me. Okay. Exactly 30 seconds, I'm going to open the rice. Then my timer will be done. Cucumbers cut. So I'm going to turn off the fire. I'm not going to open the lid yet. Okay, in the bowl. If anyone has any questions, please feel free.
Yeah, I'm following on the chat. No questions yet. Muna is reminding us of the Queue de Castor, the beaver's tail sweet. Yes, that was great. I tried it in Ottawa for the first time.
Garlic. Guys, none of you were ramen fans when you were in Montreal? Guys and girls.
I remember I got introduced to it later in my life, unfortunately.
Wow, there was this place on Guy, was it Guy? No, right next to the Concordia building. What was the name of the street? Can't remember, but the name of next to Concordia, the name of the restaurant was Misoya. They had the best ramen I've ever had in my life. I used to go like twice a week, 3 times a week. So mint leaves, I'm just bringing them all together like this, so they're just easier to chop with the knife. So chop, chop, chop. I'll just give it another go. Again, for the mint, you can choose how fine you want it to be in the salad. I like it to be visible. Okay.
So, Chef Karim, apparently in the recipe it says dried mint. So that's not a problem, right? They just put dried mint.
No,
instead.
not at all. Yeah, just put dry mint instead. It's the same exact thing, just fresh mint is a bit stronger in taste, but it's the exact same thing. You can use dry mint or fresh. I used fresh because I don't have dried at home. But usually for the salad, they go for dried mint. In the restaurant, I go for dried mint. Because I'm at home and I have fresh mint, so I went for that. I usually have mint tea in the morning, so I always have fresh mint available at home. Unfortunately, I forgot to include dried mint in my pantry. So for the yogurt, I'm just going to add a couple of spoons.
So is this almost half of that container, right? 5
Yes.
spoons.
Spoons.
How many spoons per day?
Around 7, I think.
7. Okay, 7 to 8.
Yes, dash of salt. And that's about it. Mix it all up.
Chef Karim, for those that like spicy, is there a way to turn the jambalaya into a spicy meal?
Yes, of course. We're coming there.
Okay.
I'm going to do something that I always have on the side of everything. You'll see in a second. So, give that a taste. Okay, for our spicy fans, you can get, I like to use green chilies. Cut them in half. If you want it to be extremely spicy, keep the seeds.
Yeah.
If you want it medium spicy, remove the seeds. I'm personally going to keep the seeds. I'm just going to get a small bowl. 1 second. Okay, give that a chop. Add that all in. I like to add coriander because I love coriander with my spice blend. This is just an addition, it's not a must. But for all the spice lovers, if you want something spicy, basically coriander, hot chili, seasoning, some salt, just a bit, dash of black pepper, and olive oil. That's about it. Just serve that on the side with a teaspoon. Whoever wants spice can add a bit.
Well, that looks good. So do you put it on the side later, or you mix it with the food, or it depends on what you like?
I personally serve it on the side.
Okay.
You can just add on top of your dish as much as you like. 1 spoon, or just the oil. If you don't want it too spicy, just add the oil. If you want it spicy, put in some of the peppers in as well. So, time for the magic moment.
Yeah.
I'm gonna put in the herbs on my board, and I'm going to open my pot. Can you see my pot well?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Oh,
So here you can see that all the ingredients, all the liquid has dried out. I'm doing something wrong. Do not copy me. For rice, at this stage, use a fork. Much better for the rice rather than a spoon. And just gently toss it all up like this. Voila. And then I'm just gonna do a small plate for you guys on how I can serve this for myself. And then we can conclude. Very good. So give me a second, I'm gonna grab a plate. Let's take the verdict of one of my friends as well. Laith. Give that a chop. Maybe you can just tilt the camera towards me. And then okay. So in this mix, I have parsley and olive oil together. Just gonna put it in a small bowl so I can make space. 1 second. Yeah, this is my garnish basically. Okay. Garnish board out. And then I'll just do the plating and then we'll be done. So, plate here, pot open. Okay, I usually make a mess. This time it worked out fine. Perfect. I used to always have this deal with my roommate in Montreal, is that I cook, he cleans, so my life was always perfect. I never had to worry about dishes, but he was always fed. So I guess it's a win-win.
Fair deal.
Okay, so I like my food spicy. So I'm gonna add a dash of this on top, like that. Okay, bit of chili. Garnish. Okay. Small dash black pepper. Bit of sea salt. Then with the yogurt salad, mix it all up, serve it on the side, like that. And there you have it, a simple dish that anyone can do in less than an hour. You can always have it in the fridge, reheated, and you can always eat it on campus. You can have it on the go. It's a very simple dish. It's a one-pot dish. Anyone can do it, super easy. And I hope everyone caught up with me and I wasn't too fast. Thank you all for joining. It was a pleasure. I really enjoyed this Zoom call, which is actually a first timer for me. I've never done an online class. So I'd really like to thank Dr. Isa for this opportunity. I really do appreciate it. It was really nice talking about all these times in Montreal. What a beautiful city. Hopefully, maybe one day we can all reunite in Montreal and have dim sum, maybe. Thank you very much. I'm gonna get going with my jambalaya personally.
Chef Karim, on behalf of MAA Jordan, we'd very much like to thank you for your time, your beautiful, delicious recipe, because I've already tried a bite myself. I cheated, I beat you on that. And it's lovely. And I hope that we'll be able to host you on future events with MAA Jordan as well.
I'd love that.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much.
Have a beautiful evening, all of you. Thanks for having me. Take
Guys,
care.
we'd like to hear your feedback about the jambalaya.
Thank you, Chef.
Yeah, and here, my wife Diara is sending her thanks, and would like to hear more from you. And I'll send all your comments to Chef Karim in due time. Thank you very much, everyone.
Thank you. Have a nice evening, everyone, or afternoon. Take care. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye. Take care.
Thank you. Thank you, everybody.